Welcome to the depths of the wrong drawer.
Hi.
And Nicole.
Anne, pleasure to meet you.
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you.
Hi.
You're Matt.
Yeah.
Not Angela.
I know, it's a big shock.
It's good
You look
to
more
know.
like an Angela.
I've been called worse things.
I don't know how much Josh told you about what it is that we do.
You mind standing in front of the booth just because of the lighting?
Yeah, no problem.
Hi.
So, what can I tell you about the depths of the wrong drawer?
Everything, start from the top.
Alright, so the Depths of the Wrong Drawer is a dungeon crawler board game that is played in the dark.
Okay.
It consists of a modular maze, so you can set up a new maze each time.
Okay.
The full game is a full 3x3 game, but you can set up however you want. So you can have a 1x9 winding maze, a zigzag maze, or even I had one group play with a 3x3, but they took out the center column.
Really?
So you actually had to go around, split the party, and one guy got ambushed by the monster player, and then his friends couldn't help him in time. So all the explorers light up, they only illuminate what's directly in front of them in the maze.
And that's why we're playing. Because, okay, so the first big thing is...
This is a blackout canopy tent, so you can actually play in the dark.
Why are we playing in the dark?
To get a real fog of war kind of experience where you only see what's directly in front of you in the maze.
And I see each of the little minis have lights on them.
Yep. So the lights flicker a little bit on purpose. They're pretty much simulating torches inside a maze, and you're trying to find pieces of gold scattered throughout the maze. The first explorer to 1,000 gold and out of the maze alive is the winner. The catch is there's a monster player who doesn't light up. They're hidden in the dark, and they wear night vision goggles so they can see the whole maze. It plays a lot like a traditional dungeon crawler, but instead of a super powerful monster you team up on, or grinding through a bunch of minions of the monster, you're actually playing a monster that has a great informational advantage over you, but that advantage actually shrinks as the game goes longer and you explore the dungeon. But then some of the players pull ahead, they find more gold, and explorers start turning on one another, doing the monster's dirty work for them.
This is super cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, who designed the game?
I did.
Did
We've been
you?
working on it for about 2 years now. We've been successful on Kickstarter. We launched back in May.
Yeah.
We raised $81,000.
Congratulations.
And now we're talking to manufacturers.
That is really awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
What
you so
inspired you? So one of the things I really like to do at the con is ask the people about them, about you.
Sure.
So what got you into board games?
So all my life growing up, I've always we play as much as we could. I played a lot with my family and friends. And one thing, once we got bored of games, we didn't want to go out and find new games right away. So I'd create new variants. The most recent game was Bang, the spaghetti western game, and we got tired of that bluffing mechanic of figuring out who's the deputy, who's the renegade, and who's the outlaw. So one day I just came up with this mode where for every player, so it's pretty much the sheriff versus everybody else is an outlaw, so no guesswork whatsoever, but for every outlaw, the sheriff got an additional character ability card, so he could combo all of them. So
sounds like a lot.
So he would create these super powerful villains, but you have to fight everybody else.
That's very creative to be able to look at a game and be able to move it around to work like that for you.
Thank you. So the next logical step was I had this idea. I noticed a trend of horror board games, and I want to see if I could recreate the same experience. So this game actually started off as every explorer would start off in the center. And you would choose.
What gave you the idea to do, I mean, the thing that set this game apart right from the start, without knowing anything about the game, is that you're playing a game in the dark. So where did that idea come from?
I just remember it was a Sunday afternoon. Before I learned how night vision goggles work, some years before, and I tried to make them myself. But then programming it was the biggest hardship. But at least knowing how it worked and that it was out there sat in the back of my mind. And one Sunday I was like, I could make a game played in the dark where one person sees everything, much like monsters in horror movies, and then try and recreate that experience. So this started off like a horror movie where you're lost with your friends inside a maze and you have to find your way out. But after playtesting it a few times, people quickly told me that there's this great maze that's set up, but really no incentive at all to explore it. So I introduced Gold, and they actually start outside and choose how far into the maze they went. And immediately everybody told me this is much better than the horror aspect of the game.
Okay.
So it just grew from there naturally.
Gotcha. This is really kind of cool.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So I can't get over the little minifigures and the lights.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, no problem.
So how are you enjoying BGG.CON thus far?
Could you repeat that?
How are you enjoying BGG.CON thus far?
Oh, I'm having a great time. This is a fantastic event to be at. So I'm meeting directly with some of my backers, and they're able to see the game first in person. The first time ever. And then I'm also getting great feedback from other people. It's like, I would have loved to see this feature. They're able to tell me how they feel about the stretch goals. So what I started with was these were actually stickers. They would have been printed directly on the board. But a lot of players were asking for modular tokens so that they could actually flip those over and create sort of like a breadcrumb trail of where they've been in the maze, and that'll help them navigate through. And they can choose which how they want to play it, whether they stay flipped down and you don't know what you're wandering into, or they get flipped over and consumed so they're not constantly there.
We actually have an audience question.
Sure.
Nicole? No worries. Just because the camera...
The base set of the game is $80 plus $15 shipping in the US, $30 shipping in the EU, but we'll cover the VAT tax for any shipping in the European Union.
Now, your Kickstarter is funded. It's over?
Yeah.
Where do people go now to get their hands on the game?
We're doing pre-orders. If you look up board games with night vision goggles, we're the first one to pop up. We'll have a link through there. I have a handout of the link, but it's a really long link.
Okay. And say the name of the game one more time so people know.
The Depths of Durangar.
Can you spell that?
Sure. Durangar. So
now they know what they can Google for.
It was sort of inspired by... Oh, perfect.
Inspired by?
Lord of the Rings. I really like the naming scheme J.R.R. Tolkien came up with.
Okay.
And I sort of came up with the most guttural sounding name. Reverse Google searched that until I kept adding letters until it was the only one to come up.
That works. That's a great way to do that.
It's been a little hard to pronounce, but that's fine. It's been really interesting finding creative ways. I had one team of reviewers. They were sort of almost like American Idol. There's 3 of them. Each of them has a different take. One of them's the super critical one, one's the super optimistic, and one is like the breaking point.
Okay.
And each one of them had a different pronunciation for the game, and it was a great opening.
To see, I'm sure it was interesting for you to see how each person pronounced the name. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for letting us check out the game. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully next time you get to see it what it looks like in the dark.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you, Jack.
Pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you too.